everyone. I am Mark Skinner, and I'm here with Greg Cleghorn and Kenneth Nelson, and we are the three Black Pratt photographers, and we have a series of photo talks. This particular episode is called "Taking It to the Streets." Now, if you've watched any of our other shows, you've heard us talk about street photography. You've seen a lot of street photography from a variety of areas, and particularly from Kenneth. And so today I said, well, let me, talk about street photography that I do. I don't do a lot, but I do some. Okay. Anyway, we can go to the first image. We have all, three of us, were students at Pratt Institute, and we studied in their fine art program. And primarily, the emphasis there was sort of mid 20th century street photography in the 35 millimeter format. As you know, with these digital cameras, a good number of them have that sort of 35 millimeter format style, whether it's a 4/3 camera or an APS-C camera or a full frame camera. Most of the cameras tend to be formatted in that basic sort of a replica of the 35 millimeter. Having said that, this particular photo was just a really quick capture that I did in 2000 and I believe it was 20. Yes, this was probably the day.
I don't see the image. Can you see the image? Anybody else?
I can see it.
I don't see the image, but okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's a pretty good one. It's a photograph of a young person, like a child, and it looks like they're riding a scooter because you can only see the vertical part of where the handlebars would be, and they're sort of it's pretty neat. It's a photograph I took back in 2020 on March 13th. Believe it or not, they were just talking about the beginning of an illness that was starting to become very popular. And I think on that day, they had just started to shut down the city in New York, and they said that we're going to close it down because people are getting sick and we don't know what's happening. And as you can see, this young person did not have a mask. There were no masks. Dates and the windows open, and this represented pretty much a much freer time for the entire planet. And as all of you know, things got very, very challenging for all of us directly after that. The main thing I wanted to say is that this particular photo has a lot of elements in it that are very much about the street photography aesthetic. I tend not to get that close when I do my street photography. I tend to like to let the individual sort of exist in their environment and not get too close to them. And you'll see a sort of a stylist sort of evolved certainly with these three photographs. You go to the next one. Let's see. This is May. If you go to May. That next photo was done in December of 2020. And this gentleman doesn't have a mask on either, but you can see there are these outdoor geodesic domes. And you can see by the Christmas tree in the lower left-hand corner that it's the holidays. This is Bryant Park in New York City. It's an overcast day, and as a sort of a tribute to all of that street photography that we studied at Pratt, of course, I put my requisite umbrella in the color that represents some street photography, and the gesture of his walking from whatever space he was directly towards one of those bubbles lets you know that he's probably going to dine with some friends. You can see some figures sort of in there. And it's a square format. This was done medium format. And it was, it was just kind of in the middle of this. We didn't know what was happening. New York's infection rate had gone down a little bit, but then it started to go back up a little bit. And things were still a little bit up in the air nationwide. But people were still trying to get a little bit of holiday cheer and enjoy themselves despite that. But this kind of shows how the specter of the virus really hung over all of the holiday festivities. And if you go to the next one, which will be my last image, If you watched a couple of the other episodes, you'll know that Greg has been taking photographs of cars with car covers, and I'd mentioned that this type of work was very reminiscent of uh, the kind of the William Eggleston. I took a quick research look at William Eggleston again to kind of refresh myself
Uh-huh.
with his work, and I did that after taking this picture. I mean, I saw the car and said, "Oh wow, I want to take this because I've always wanted one of these." And I had mentioned in the previous episode, "Oh, you hardly ever see one like this in a car with a car cover in New York." Well, this is in Bedford Stuyvesant. You can see it's a much different kind of environment. It's New York. It's not California. It's an overcast day once again, and uh, this really talks to the idea of you make certain choices. The first image, you know everything was very carefree. It was a nice spring day. There's a kid on a scooter, and it's sunny, and there are shadows on the walls, the windows open, and there's a beautiful topiary. But by the time you get to this, which was done I think last week, maybe the week before, but I think it was last week,
Mm-hmm.
the whole mood of the whole planet has sort of changed. And not only has my subject matter changed a little bit, thanks to the influence of Greg, but also, just where I take pictures. See, the last two pictures were in overcast days. In the last 6 months, it's been more overcast than it has been sunny, but that'll probably change again. But, I don't know if I would have taken this photograph in the sun. I think the fact that there was just this soft enveloping light that enveloped the entire scene, very much like the car is enveloped by the cover,
Mm-hmm.
gave it a whole two-dimensional look that I really appreciated. And so when I designed the photograph and took it as the whole frame, each one of these photos are the whole frame.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that this really kind of set it for me. I probably won't be taking any more car cover photos and showing them unless it's something special. I took another one the same day, believe it or not. But
Mm-hmm.
this really spoke to me about how in an area that you wouldn't normally see that, which is a housing project, you'd see a car on the street. It looks like it's almost the only car on the street. It wasn't, but it does look like it was. But you can
Mm-hmm.
see that this person has pride in ownership. They've got fantastic rims, aftermarket rims, and even in an apartment dwelling, as opposed to a really nice ranch house driveway, where someone's parking a car on the street, they really care about their property. And I thought it was a really nice way to say that there's a hopefulness. Uh, even after the pandemic, someone's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take care of my car." So that's really all I had to say about these three images. And I just wanted to say that street photography isn't uh, my first passion in photography, but it's certainly the first genre that I've studied. And these three don't have the whole scope, but I thought they were a nice combination, and they do seem to sort of uh, show that I have a style that's developing, even if I do borrow subject matter from my good friend. That's it.
Yeah. So about this car cover,
Mhm.
if it weren't for the shape of the car being reminiscent of a particular period in time,
Mhm.
would you have still photographed a car there if it were from a later period in time?
You mean like if it were something like a big SUV or something from like
If yeah, the
20
cars.
years ago?
I mean, and we all. I think we can sort of intimate that this car is not young. This car is probably from the 1970s, maybe even the 60s. Just given the shape and the length of the car itself.
Right, right.
So we're gonna figure that it's not from the 80s, 90s, or the 2000s. So I'm wondering if, in fact, this car was reminiscent of a 2000 or 2010, 2020 car or SUV covered in the same fashion at the same spot, would that have held the same interest for you as this shape does? Or was it
Well,
the shape, or the shape is inconsequential to the
well,
photo?
I think the shape, because it's a shape in your frame, always matters. I think for me, if it were like a 2010 Super Beetle, I would be like, "Oh wow, look at that! There's a Volkswagen underneath there."
Uh-huh.
Certain shapes, as you alluded to, have a sense of time and a sense of history to them,
Hmm.
and juxtaposing one against the other, makes sort of an interesting idea about what is in that cover, under that cover, and who the people are and what they're thinking. But I mean, if it were something like an SUV from like a big Escalade, um, if it took more space, if it went above the window line, would
Uh-huh.
it still take the photograph? Probably not. The fact that
Uh-huh.
it's a lean machine that
Uh,
goes underneath and it sort of replicates the way those windows
yeah.
in both rows. I think those are the little pieces of that, and
Yeah.
that really kind of help add that. And then there's some construction going on that facade, so it's not it's a transitory phase for the building. You can see that the building is in the middle of a reface. So it really talks about time. I mean, you know, uh, the car's being upgraded. We're guessing that's a long, older, car, American made is what we're presuming, right? Maybe
Yeah.
like a Caddy or a Buick or a Lincoln or something like that. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's got modern rims.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
rims within the last 10 years. There's not factory rims. I mean, they even look like maybe 20-inch tires or something, really out of time. And the building kind of replicates that. The building was built, I think, either in the late 70s or early 80s. And then at the same time, that aluminum bar that you see going across between the two stories, between the two floors,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that's new. Now you can tell there's going to be a facade built there, and as they
Yeah, I can't tell that, Mark. To be honest with you, I get the impression, and it's funny because not knowing what I'm looking at in terms of age and what's happening, I have no indication from what I'm seeing on my screen that the building's being renovated. To me, it just looks like something may have been removed from the building surface, but what is on the building surface to me is reminiscent of bars, jail bars.
right, it reminiscent of jail bars, but if you've watched construction, and certainly when they're renovate, if you watch renovation in New York,
Uh,
then you kind of know. Oh, I see. They're just refacing that. So it's not really so much that something's been removed, because that brick, if you'd been there, you don't know, but if you were there,
uh,
the brick went from top to bottom, and
okay.
so they're sort of gussying it up, and that kind of crossbar that you see tells you that they're going to hang some sort of facade on there to give the building a refresh of some sort. I'm trying to see if there's any indicators on the marquee, but I don't see any there. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna zoom in on it and just, you know,
I'm not sure what's going on, but I can't see the images, so I can't even comment.
okay. Yeah, I mean, are you seeing either of the two of us, Greg?
I don't see either of you guys either, but go ahead, keep going.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Okay,
I
Mark.
see you guys now.
Okay, Mark. All right.
Don't worry about it. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, Mark, anything else?
no, that's really it.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I will take the helm from you and oh, I'm sorry. Was it me or Greg?
You
I
go
Greg,
believe
ahead.
you're
it
next.
was Greg next. So now we go to Greg and his images.
Okay, Greg, I got your number one up, car cover.
Wow, I can't see any of this. Anyway, the car cover, like last week, was it last week? Well, I've been just putting around town, and I just kept happening across these covered cars. I thought they were kind of interesting, suburban story.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And thought it was interesting, just as a
Oh, shit.
street
Okay.
photography study. What'd you say, Ken?
I'm sorry, Mark. Greg. No. Mark, you see
You're
the
breaking
image?
up.
I'm sorry,
No, I
Mark.
don't see his. Nope.
You don't see his? Okay.
Nope. I see the tab for it.
I'm sorry. Give me a sec. Greg. Sorry, Greg. Okay.
No worries.
There we go. I'm sorry. Greg, your image is now on screen. It wasn't on screen a moment ago.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't see it. But yeah, I just kind of like the best thing about street photography is just what you come up across, and I've since the time I took that other photo, I've come across four covered cars, and
Uh-huh.
I've gotten a snap of each one of them. So it seems like it's going to evolve. I don't know. It seems like Mark. I don't know if he's going to collaborate or if he's done with it. But anyway, doesn't matter. All right, I guess we go to the next one. I,
Uh,
yeah, I'd go to the next one.
Okay.
Uh, what,
Um,
what image
it,
is it? Because I can't
it's
see.
the arrow with the person on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This was up in Cap City, up there in Sacramento, and I thought it was a little heartrending to see this guy under this. It was like a heat vent, staying warm, but he was out cold. My goodness, I went over just to check to see if he was breathing.
Hmm.
You know, and I do have like a little. I do have compassion for the houseless. It's you find himself there. I've been houseless, and it's not a place where you want to find yourself, but sometimes they are. And I took some other photos like this with people, capital workers in the background, just walking past them, heading to their job as if, that's like a normal everyday thing. Somebody laying out in, the fourth largest or sixth largest economy on the planet, that this is going on. I hope, these politicians do something to really, pull that together because it's kind of a mess. And thank you for letting us take off our masks, CDC. I got my vaccination shot. Anyway, that was several years ago when I was up there in Sacramento. Several years? Yeah, I'll leave it there. I know it's been about 5 or 6 years. But go ahead, go to the next one.
Okay. This is the second version of of the shot.
Yeah, and when I went back up, um, I could not believe how much worse it had gotten. There were more old RVs parked along streets, more tent cities, more encampments, and then the most telling for me, and this if I just pan a little to the left, the Capitol building is sitting like right there. It's less than like 300 or 400 yards away, and the houses are multiplying. At this one interchange with warm air coming out of that concrete tube, and I just hope we, do some legislation or do something I'm involved in to help make the situation better. Because I don't think anybody wants to be honest. Between COVID and people losing their jobs and stuff, a lot more people are on the streets that don't necessarily want to be there. Okay, moving right along. Next one.
Okay. That's the mural painter.
Which one is this one?
It's the mural
The
painter.
mural painting. Yeah. Yeah, I like when I came across this, I didn't know there. I saw it and drove down and spun around and didn't almost get into an accident this time. But I like street art. I like art on the streets, and uh, this guy was really putting together beautiful music, and I just had to get it. And I wanted to get him, a candid, nice candid, because to me, this was like, like contrary to the other one, it's about hope. He's drawing this beautiful mural in the middle of the really, really trying times, and I like to capture hopeful images, but I like to capture real images too, that one, I'm not trying to appropriate anybody's art. I took a couple of snaps and sent him a copy of them. He was very thankful. There's
Mhm.
only one image that's gonna be problematic because it is. I'm going to go through my things, but this guy has painted a whole handball court in Brooklyn, like a 18th century parlor. And just as luck would have it, these two little girls ran through it, chasing each other, like having a great old time.
Uh-huh.
But the two together seemed like so out of place. But,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have to contact that artist or something because that one I would really like to sell because it's a
Okay.
beautiful image, the tandem of both. And as far as other images, you know, where you take pictures of graffiti artists. I'm not, most of the time I try like that. I'm not trying to sell it. I don't know what folks do. Dog that can rip off by folks, and they're kind of have a sting about that. But you know, I'm very cognizant of um, you know, uh, copyrights and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and fair usage, which is we had a discussion about that a little while ago, and I've got a whole blurb, but I'm not going to bore you with that tonight. But that's what it is. I keep shooting. I like to shoot hopeful things. You know, if I shoot something a little on the depressing side, I like to shoot something on the light side. That's all I got tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, I like the mural painters. From the part of his work that I'm seeing, I like the fact that for me it evokes the cartoons because the drawing is very much a cartoon style, and
Okay.
that's the thing that I pick up from is right away. It's very cartoonish, and it's very classic cartoonish. It's not about funny. It's just there, and I like the way it's rendered. And it's just very interesting cartoon. Yeah, I that's all I want to say about that. I think it's a great image. I love the colors.
Me too. The colors are what stopped me.
Yeah,
And then him on this oversized ladder, you know, I was like, okay, I gotta get this. I gotta get
yeah,
this. I had to get there
yeah,
before he
yeah.
finished.
I like the notion that the tree branch is coming out the
But
opposite
yes,
side, and it sort of has these fingers that are holding things up. So I sort of get an idea. The way this is cropped, it feels like the tree has fingers and it's holding something up. So I like the way, for me, that it sort of looks that way. It looks like
mm-hmm.
a three-fingered tree, you know, or a three-fingered branch, and it evokes. So it becomes anthropomorphic to me in that sense, you know.
I
So
like
Yeah.
the golden glow that the branch
yeah,
and the cloud have on them.
yeah, hmm yeah. It's very yeah, very, that's stylistic of classic cartooning drawing.
Oh,
So
cool.
all right, I guess that leaves me, Mark.
I guess so, Kenneth.
Okay, I'll take it away. All right, so you guys know that I am a street shooter, and so I'll just quickly go through three images that are recent photographs and part of a series. And so one of a set of series that I've been doing is called PDE, right? Standing for Public Displays of Eating. And in this
Do
particular
you have
instance,
work at the Sydney City Market?
I'm sorry, Greg, your video feed is a little jagged.
I can't hear. Yeah, I can't hear what you got. I can't hear. Can't see the image.
Okay. Ah, okay, I'm sorry. Well, I will continue on. Hopefully, he'll get back to join us. So one of my images, this is an image, part of the public displays of eating, and and it's like there's so many street festivals in the city, it is almost impossible not to catch somebody eating, and I
Oh,
think it's
gee,
kind
I'm
of,
sorry. I can't see the image, Kenneth.
oh shoot. Okay. Okay, I think something's going wrong with our connection. So let me try that again.
Well,
There you go.
I see you again.
Okay. All
There it
right.
is.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, yes. I'm sorry. Did you ever see the image at all, or this is the first
This is
instance?
the first I'm
Okay.
seeing.
I apologize for that.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So it's called, part of it is called Public Display of Eating, and I'm photographing all the people that I've seen eating on the street. And this is just one of the extreme examples of what people are doing as they eat. And I think eating on the street, although it is a ritual that for some people is normal. I tend to not think that eating in public places in such a fashion is normal, but at a street festival, you're gonna do that. So, and I just think that this is one of the most extreme cases where it's unabashed, and it's just this guy is just filling his face, and he doesn't care who sees him or
He's
anything
really
like
getting it
that.
in. He's
Huh?
getting it in, man.
And I'm like, so yeah, and it's there's a couple and I love these things because there's no pretense about decorum in any of them. It's just eating is such a graphic thing, And when you're eating by hand, and I mean, sure, he's eating with a fork, but the fact is, he's sort of his mouth is full, and it's not a good look. And I don't think eating in public is a good look, but yet a lot of people do it. And so public displays of eating is one of the series I'm working on. And of course, you've seen one of the other ones, which was the pizza person with the pizza strand that's pulling the pizza one, right? So that's also part of this series.
That's a great shot. Yeah.
Thank you. I love
I
that
don't know if
shot.
you're going to show that one. Yeah.
No, it's not in this series. I just picked something else that you guys have not seen. So, and this is one of those that's part of that series. The next one is part of a series that I'm doing, and it sort of goes in line. It's not part of any series, but when I was looking at this earlier today, I said, "Wow, I love this shot because I love this person's hands and how they're intermingled." And I said, "Hold on for a second. This person's hands are intermingled just like the people are." So they're sort of reflective of the people. The people in the background are intermingling, and our hands are intermingling together. So they sort of to me they're related to each other. And I just like this little hand coming out of the bottom left as well. It's just something that's it's like, okay, that's a weird thing. Oh, you know. And again, you got hands coming in from the right, hands coming in from the bottom left, and it's we're hands, but it's just I just thought it was interesting. I love this person's hands and the way her hands are clenched together and they're held behind her head. And I saw this and I said, okay, I know the position I want to be, and I'm not tall enough. So I raised my hand up, aimed the camera down, and took the photograph because it's like I wasn't going to show this, but I still love this image because I love what it represents.
Very cool image.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah. And then come on, next one.
Because once you see the hands, there's hands everywhere. There's a
Yeah.
hand on her
Yeah.
arm. There's a
Yeah.
hand coming from the
Yep.
bottom.
Yep.
Hand with the cup. Hand with
Yep.
his other hand on the right side. It's a very cool image. Good.
Yeah. I just think it's just a wonderful shot. And so the third one is again hands, but I thought this was kind of a very interesting thing because I love photographing people as they're walking into the sunlight. And I love that they hold their hands to block the sun. But what I thought was interesting when I saw this one was the dynamics of this particular image is pretty intriguing. You got this white woman holding up her hands against the sun, and she's wearing a white shirt. Right behind her, you got this black woman holding up her hand, and she's wearing a dark color. And I thought that dynamic was pretty interesting. And I think, two humans going against the sunlight, walking into the sun, and I just the dynamic, the thought of that was so cool for me. And so when you're out there photographing and you see something, and I'm paying attention to the foreground and I'm not really seeing what's going on in the background because I'm not focused at that. I'm focused mainly in the foreground, about 1 meter to 2 meters. And so sometimes things just happen and it just worked well where the framing just happens where something happens in the background. It's out of focus, but it's representation and you can see what's going on. And it sort of it enhances what's going on in the foreground. So I just love that idea. So yeah, happenstance is good. But it's just amazing making relationships even after the fact, even if you don't see it in the while you're taking the photograph at that time. So that's what I got.
Beautiful.
3 shots, street photography. Love it.
I like how your pictures, you don't even have to say a lot. Your pictures speak for themselves. They hands are up. You could tell if it's California, everybody be wearing sunglasses. But since it's a New York scene, everybody, they don't wear sunglasses. So, but the pictures speak for themselves. You don't have to say a lot about the image because they speak. They speak. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And I grapple with that too. I do grapple with the notion of how much information do I give you? Do I spoon feed you, or do I hand hold you, or do I not? In this particular instance, I decided, I'll just explain it to you. For those who are out there, yeah. Hopefully, I didn't give too much information. Hopefully, you have enough. Yeah. Hopefully, those who see it have enough time to just go on about themselves and enjoy for what it is. I just love it. So, street photography. Yay! Leave it. Love it, love it, love it. That's all I got, Mark.
All right. I guess Is that it, everybody?
Yeah, unless there are any questions, follow-ups, or anything, I have none.
Wow. Okay. Well, Greg, you got any follow-ups?
No, he says no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do
Well,
not.
you do not. Okay. Well, pretty much at this point, you guys may have seen a very quick example of street photography. Like I said, I really don't do a lot of it, but occasionally I do, and it's certainly photographers inspire great work from one another, and that's really about it. I think that I'm pretty sure we have been the three Black Pratt grads. And I'm here with Kenneth Nelson, Gregory Cleghorn, and I am Mark Skinner. And we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye bye.